Hello, everyone, and welcome into Debate Night. Yet again, a little bit different format. So Silas and I are down here in Charleston, South Carolina for the Foundation Charleston grand opening. Brodie will be joining us here in about 2 days, but you're currently in Dallas, right, Brodie?
We're here for a couple days. We fly out Thursday morning.
Thursday.
So we'll be there
Nice.
soon.
Nice. Yeah, so once Brodie gets in town, then we're going to have we're going to do a Foundation versus the Nation, the Foundation Charleston grand opening, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the whole week down here is actually brought to you by Flippy Disc Golf. So let me tell you about them real quick and shout them out for sponsoring today's episode as well. If you want to look fresh on the disc golf course, well, today's sponsor has just what you need. Find your new style today at Flippy Disc Golf. Flippy creates super soft, stretchy, and lightweight jerseys with men and women disc golfers in mind. The lightweight, moisture-wicking fabric keeps you cool on the course and lets you throw smoothly and freely without any snagging or sticking. Flippy also offers customization to your jerseys, perfect for tournament player packs, double team, and sponsor players. All Foundation viewers will receive 10% off with the code Foundation10 at checkout. So be sure to head over there, check out all of their different styles, all of that at flippydiscgolf.com and use code Foundation10 to get 10% off. And I also heard that they might be dropping some of the Foundation custom jerseys this weekend. You'll see those, when Foundation versus Nate. No,
I was going to say
we have one with your name on it, Brodie.
I was going to say they made us some, right? Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm rocking.
Did you
I'm
just
rocking
say
one of their
Smith or
stock
just say first
ones
and
today.
last name?
Oh, don't worry what it says on the back.
Is it
We all have different nicknames. Actually, yours is pretty obvious. It's Dark Horse.
Oh, heck yeah.
We just went boring.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone else, I mean, I didn't have a
That's
nickname
literally
prior
what I
to this
figured.
weekend, so
Now you do.
they dedicated one to me. I won't spoil it. You'll have to
Oh,
watch
I'm
the Creators
looking
Cup
forward
to
to
see
seeing it.
what my nickname is. But it was apparently Trevor and Brad came up with it together, so it's a pretty good nickname. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw it, I was like,
yeah.
that's funny, and it fits
Okay.
well. So, but yeah, check out Flippy Disc Golf for all that. We gotta talk Idlewild a little bit here, Brodie. Why don't you first there's a lot of different storylines that were perfect for debate night that came from this, but first let's just do what we typically do.
Oh, he can't see your screen, Brodie. He's showing up the picture of the disc that we're getting.
Oh, you want to tell them about that?
I
first?
thought you were just,
I can't see the screen. I'm looking
I thought
at
you were
myself.
just ignoring it.
That's
okay.
funny. No, tell them about the disc for this weekend. That's funny.
Well, I was just gonna say to hype up the grand opening a little bit, because I don't even think I've really even
Absolutely.
talked about it that much on my side. So we've got obviously the Foundation versus the Nation. We got a bunch of events Hunter just talked about, all coinciding with the Foundation Charleston grand opening. So last time we did the grand opening for our own store in Lynchburg, we did 100 midnight Dark Horse Raptors, and this time we're doing 100 midnight Dark Horse Nukes. So there might be a little bit of a theme here. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to start getting crazy and just opening up stores all over the place, but that would be a pretty sweet pair to have, the Dark Horse Midnight Raptor and the Dark Horse Midnight Nuke. But this time around, too, I think the cool thing is if you are going to come in from out of town, there's a lot of other stuff going on, so you can kind of make it of a full trip versus just like coming in to hang out for 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is at the store and then bouncing. And also there's going to be a bunch of other creators there too that you get to meet. So it should be an awesome time. Really looking forward to it. And I've never actually played disc golf in South Carolina before, so I'm also excited to get to play some of the courses there as well. And if you're in the area or you're close by, come make the trip. All the information is on Foundation Charleston's Instagram page. I'm sure we can maybe put some stuff in the description down below as well. So hope to see all you guys out there this week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. That's the actual grand opening. That's perfect. The grand opening, 5 p.m. Saturday, they're also gonna have food trucks out there, and like Brodie said, lots of other creators are gonna be there. And I got to check out the shop yesterday. As soon as we got in town, we went straight there. It's pretty sick setup. They already have a pretty awesome used section. We'll put it that way. And I think they were getting a few more shipments of discs in today and tomorrow that'll fill out the shelves. But I mean, they got sick like wall-to-wall shelves and then like a nice middle section with like bins that you can sort through, some pop-ups. for different brands and stuff. It's a really cool shop, and I'm a little jealous of this. You'll be jealous of it when you see it in person, Brodie. You probably saw it on social, but they hired a local carpenter to build them out their checkout desk with a glowing foundation logo in it. So,
Oh, heck yeah.
but this guy has connections in Lynchburg and offered to build us one as well. So we might have to get him next time he's in Lynchburg to knock that out for us, because
Nice.
when you see it in person, it's pretty sick. But that's all going down Saturday. And if you want more details,
Also,
on the creative
Brad is
stuff,
bringing
that's on our Instagram as well.
some goodies as well. So I got some extra goodies, and I think Brad's going to bring. I think he's going to bring some of those down as well, along with the
Sneaky.
100 Dark Horse nukes. So yeah.
So in other words, if you are within driving distance of Charleston, South
10
Carolina, you're
hours.
going to want to be here Saturday. Maybe. I mean, some people. I did
10
get
hours
a DM from
driving?
someone.
Oh,
10
I
hours
was just going to
driving,
say
were you
10
saying?
hours driving. 10 hours. Are we on a delay? What's going on here? Silas, what is
I think
happening
you're on a
here?
slight delay. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're on a delay or something.
Why am I on a delay?
All right, we had some technical difficulties, but we should be back. We should have it all fixed. Silas is going to work editing magic, so it's like we never even left. But anyways, let's get into Idlewild here. So lots of stories to talk about, lots of tweets and different topics that came from this thing. But, Brodie, we got to talk through your play out there, what you thought of the course, what you thought of the conditions, and, yeah, the tournament as a whole. Run us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I love the course. It's definitely one of my favorites that we've played so far this year. I thought the changes they had done were excellent, except for maybe 16. I understand what they did, the reason why they widened it, though. Obviously, pace of play reasons, I think. But I think they could potentially kind of make that a hazard, or if they want to make it OB and like just still cut the grass around it so it's easier to find your disc. Because that hole did become, obviously, as we saw how many eagles there were and how many birdies, you could get a lot more aggressive off the tee. But that's also exciting, I guess, coming down the wire. It makes the eagle more possible. But I really love the two new holes, hole 3, hole 4. Hole 4 might be one of my favorite holes that I've played this season. I think it's going back to it. We talked, I think, a little bit about it last week, but I just think that force carry really plays into a lot of risk-reward situations. So absolutely love those changes. And yeah, I just overall really, really love the course. Now, obviously, the weather that we got made for some tough conditions out there. But, I think whenever the conditions get tough, it's, it kind of eliminates some people and it elevates others. And some people weren't nearly as affected as some others were when it came to the conditions. So it was kind of cool to see who rose to the top. And I, got the chance to play with Isaac in the first round, and
Oh, nice.
that was my first time. Yeah, it was my first time getting to play with him and seeing his game up close. The dude's got crazy skill. I know we texted a little bit about it, and I said, like, literally, I didn't see him throw a forehand at all, and there was a lot of times where maybe a forehand was probably if you had equally as good forehand as backhand, you're probably throwing a forehand. So I'm assuming he definitely favors the backhand, but if he gets his forehand up to where his backhand is, and the only other thing I would say is maybe added an extra 25 or 50 feet of distance, I mean, you're looking at someone that is just another one of those guys that you can add to the list that can win any tournament out there. So he obviously has been super close to winning previously at the Portland Open. He was in the mix, and then I think he was also in the mix. It was either at Beaver State Fling or maybe it was just Portland, but phenomenal player, really cool to watch him, and really happy for him. Really great guy, and congrats to him.
Yeah, he was somewhat in the mix back at Waco as well, back at the beginning of the season. Finished fifth there, I believe, way back.
Okay.
Yeah, really been coming into form, but the conditions specifically created kind of two different tweets. I don't know if you saw them. I saw them, and they both had different takes that I want your opinion on. These came from players in the event. This first one said players who are close in rating need tee times that are close together for round one. Watching half the field play in horrible conditions and then the other half play in great conditions is just wrong. Only matters for round one. What do you think on, the essence of the take, I don't like using ratings for it, obviously, but the essence of the take is essentially you had half a field play in awful conditions and the second half of the field play in, fine conditions day one, not great conditions, but a lot better. Is that something you think needs to be addressed? And if so, what would you recommend for it?
I would actually say that the thing that right now is probably, well, it's tough because like normal weather, like the wind picks up throughout the day. So if you can go off early in the morning, you can kind of sometimes get better weather than later in the day. Now, the FPO goes off in the morning, so no one really is going off at 7 o'clock in the morning anymore. I think the first tee times are roughly around 10 o'clock most of the time for the MPO. So the window for MPO is normally right around like 10 to like 3. So it is just a 5-hour window a lot of times. Obviously, some tournaments there's more people and the window's a little bit bigger. So like I could see people getting upset about like feature cards and stuff of where it's like the same type of people are always playing together towards the end of the day. But again, like end of the day over time is not necessarily when you want to play. But I'm a huge fan of trying to go to a shotgun start. Not shotgun. Whoa, stop.
I was gonna say, well,
not shotgun.
Okay.
No, not shotgun. I've talked about this before. I think to fix what he's saying is a problem. I don't agree with that statement. And I know that was Presnell, and I'm sure he was frustrated with getting a bad draw. And I've had bad draws at some tournaments as well, where it just feels like every time I'm playing, the conditions are way worse than others, and it's going to happen. Yeah. But I think the easiest way of trying to make it to where that is equal, I guess, across the season, because you're never going to have a tournament where it's like, okay, you played in terrible conditions today, you get to play in great conditions tomorrow, and the other people get to play. Like, that's never going to happen, but you're just trying to make something to where, like, over the course of the season, it kind of gets evened out. And I think the easiest way of doing that is having people go off hole 1, having people go off hole 10, and doing like a morning wave, essentially. And then once all the morning wave is done, then the afternoon wave goes off a hole 1, goes off a hole 10. So you have the most people as you can on the course at one time. Obviously, you can do the shotgun start, but that's stupid. That's really bad. But this gives you this makes it minimize the times in between tee times more. And then you basically just say, okay, whoever played in the morning session on this day, the next day they play in the afternoon, and vice versa. If you play in the afternoon, you play in the morning the next day. Now, obviously, there's reasons why people don't like this. I don't think they're necessarily, in my opinion, good reasons, but people don't like the fact that you play with the same people 2 rounds in a row, because for this to work, you would have to literally have the same people. You're not basically in this scenario, you wouldn't be, if you shot hot round on the first day, you wouldn't be on lead card the second day. You would still be on the same card that you were the first day. You just play in the afternoon. So does this make sense filming wise? That's another thing that's kind of tricky, right? Is because obviously
that's
with
the big
filming,
one right now.
They want to try to keep all the people, pinched together. And like, obviously like when Isaac was playing really, really well, their camera came, and I was playing decent the first round too. So I was getting on coverage a little bit as well. And, that's kind of luck of the draw of like, I got lucky that Isaac was playing good enough to where he was leading the tournament to where we got a camera, or else I would have never gotten on coverage first round. So there's a lot of kind of luck when it comes to it. But yeah, I understand the frustration for sure. It's never fun when you feel like, wow, I played in 25 mile per hour winds, and then these guys go out and the wind drops to like 15. Like, that's a massive difference between the two. But I don't think his solution makes any sense at all. If anything, I think that makes it way worse. And then also, you're going to get really weird situations. Like, if you are someone that cares about ratings, you're going to get a really weird situation where all the low rated people go out in the morning and shoot well because the conditions are perfect, and then a storm rolls through in the afternoon and all the high rated people play terrible, and the ratings are just going to be ridiculous, right? Because now 980 rated people are shooting just as good as 1030 rated people. And so if you care about ratings, which clearly that tweet made it seem like he does, I don't think that actually will help you. I think that actually will hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, I think the sentiment behind it, I think, was solving the same type of problem that your solution solves, where it's just get the in his mind explanation was like get the similarly skilled people on the course at the same time. Yours is a little bit of a broader solution, which is like get as many people on the course at the same time and then flip-flop them so that basically you eliminate as much. I mean, there's always going to be a randomness. It's golf. It's disc golf. Like, that's going to happen. But eliminating as much as you can of the randomness, I think, is always a good step. But I think the big thing's the coverage right now. Just the way disc golf's covered, it wouldn't make sense.
It's also very short-sighted because right now, yes, do we have some people that you can literally say this person has no chance of winning the tournament? For sure. There are definitely people that you can pinpoint, but is that number getting smaller and smaller year after year after year? Yes. And eventually there will be a time where there's 80 guys that could win a tournament. So it's like, how do you then say it doesn't make sense when I see what he's saying right now is where it's like, yes, there's 50 guys that are way better than the other 50. So sure, separate it. But what happens when there's 80 guys that are a little bit better than 20 guys? Then it gets kind of tricky. So
the line gets blurrier.
It's a frustration tweet for sure, and I see exactly where he's coming from, and we've been there. If you've been there before, it's literally a terrible feeling when you've battled and you feel like you played really well and shot like 2 under, and then you see people coming in the afternoon after you shooting 7, 8, 9 because the weather was way better. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And then the second tweet was from Drew Gibson, and it was obviously about this tournament in particular, but I think it brings up a interesting question as a whole. So he said, there's a time when the conditions are too bad to play, and if it doesn't have to be because of lightning. 40 miles per hour wind isn't disc golf, and neither is a sloppy, muddy course causing touring players injury. The TD nor the Pro Tour can control the weather, but we don't have to suffer. # rest in peace, Barella. That's obviously because Anthony Barella tweaked his back from slipping on a tee pad, I believe. But first off, conditions on the course, how bad were they actually? Like, how bad were the tee pads? How sloppy were the fairways? What were we looking at out there? Because obviously on camera it looked pretty bad at times.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do what shoes you wear, and I think I have shoes that if I play in bad conditions, I literally have zero grip, and I'm slipping all over the place. And it feels like I'm on ice. And then I have a pair of shoes that the grip works incredibly well. And so I'm very, aware of the conditions, so I know what shoes to wear prior to playing. So
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people that probably were saying how bad the conditions were, because they were bad for sure. They were bad, but I think some of the people that maybe had it worse than others, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't have shoes that might have give them better grip in those type of conditions. And it's we've all been on hikes before, right? Where there's one person that just wears some shoes that either the tread has worn out or they aren't the greatest with traction, and they're slipping and sliding all over the place on a hike, and you're wearing good hiking shoes and you're fine. I think footwear comes into play a lot. And then also there might be a little bit too of where some people were just in this mindset of like, I should be able to have a run up at all times. Like if my footing should always allow me to, if I throw it in the fairway, I should always be able to have a run up. And this is where it kind of gets kind of dicey because there was really no standing water. It wasn't like where, you're throwing out of puddles or anything. It was just the dirt there becomes very muddy and slick, and it can cause some issues when it comes to like actually trying to do an X step or a run up. And so if you weren't willing to do a standstill forehand, or you weren't willing to, disc up so that you don't have to throw it nearly as hard and generate as much force, and you still want to do all those things, you're probably going to have more issues than others did. But I think they did a great job. I mean, I think they could have done that maybe a little bit sooner, but they did a great job of coming out. I think it was on Saturday night, I believe. They came out and threw down like a bunch of what looked to be almost kind of like gravel or some sort of like chalk dust kind of stuff, sawdust almost, that really did suck up a lot of the moisture. And so I think that also was really good for some fans as well. Like just actually the terrain at Idlewild is pretty tough to begin with. And so when you add in the slipperiness of it, I think some of the fans were even having a hard time climbing some of the hills or going down some of the hills. So I think that kind of helped everyone involved. But yeah, I mean, the conditions weren't great. It rained a whole bunch. There's only so much you can do. The thing that Drew did say that is interesting is like when it comes to conditions, like is there a time where you call it because it is too windy? Like
that's what I was bringing up. Like, is there a line that needs to be set?
Like DDO was, if it didn't cross the line, like that was like right on the cusp, because you start ending up, not being able to even putt from 15 feet. So I don't mind that. I don't think that's in any sort of rule book, or if that's on the minds of anyone right now. All the tournaments I've played for the Pro Tour, it's always been lightning is the only time we ever delay for anything. But I wouldn't mind seeing, hey, the course is taking on too much water. We're going to delay this back a little bit. Or, hey, the winds have gotten over, gusts are over 30 miles an hour. We're going to delay until the winds kind of calm down. Like, I think obviously the rain is probably like more of a, you got to go out there and see how it looks on the course. But the wind thing, that's a pretty easy, like just come up with a number and say like anything over 35 miles per hour, too windy, we're not playing.
But then what do you do with that round? Do you like push it to the next day? You just try to wait out the wind? Because like typically if it's a windy day, it's a windy day.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have the answer for that. I don't know, but I can see how
that's tough.
I can see how though some people are like, we're not even playing because DDO did feel like that at some point of where it's like, this doesn't really feel like disc golf right now.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting point. I mean, lightning's the obvious one, but beyond that, it's a very judgment call thing, and I do think that's where the Pro Tour, I think, will eventually establish a separate set of rules to a certain extent, and like regulation standards for delayed rounds, weather conditions, all that type stuff. But I mean, it's just a weird one right now because if like the final round's on Sunday and, it's too windy to play or something like that, and we're like, hey, we're going to have everyone we're going to push the round back and finish the tournament on a Monday or something like that. Half the field might not be able to do it, especially like Idlewild, even the top end of the field, a lot of them are leaving to go to Europe right now. And they could be like, I have flights Monday to go to Europe. Like that's not I just reschedule for the last round of Idlewild thing. So weather is obviously, I mean, it's an outdoor sport. So I think to a certain extent, I said this on Grip Block, but you just control what you control what you can control. So you like get the tee pads and stuff as best suited so that tee pads, you don't have to worry about people slipping and stuff like that. You get the fairways as good as possible to where, maybe you cut in drainage ditches or something to where, that the course drains well, or you take precautions like that. But when it comes to like wind, maybe it's just, hey, we don't schedule an event in Emporia in April. Like maybe that's the line of thought, is we just know that's a windy time of year. Hey, August is a lot less windy in Kansas. Maybe it's more precautionary line of thought versus reactionary of, oh, shoot, it's windy in April in Kansas. Let's delay the tournament every year. Maybe it's more of a precautionary thing where, hey, we know it's going to be windy. Let's try to find a time when it's not. And, hey, we know this course doesn't drain well. Let's find a way to make it drain well. So then when you're playing in the rain, the conditions are controlled as much as possible while it's still an outdoor sport.
Yeah, and we have to remember too, as fans and players, that disc golf is still very young, and the money isn't necessarily where it needs to be able to do a lot of the things that other sports can do. And one of those being just like the maintenance on the course. Like a lot of these courses are owned by, or run by rather, the city, and sometimes you have the situation where the city is super open to it and like allows locals to put time and effort into maintaining the course. And then sometimes you have it like Idlewild, they were saying, like I don't believe Idlewild, I think this was Idlewild, they don't really let locals do much on the course. So it is what it is. And until the money is different and stuff, like I don't think we'd be having the issues that we had at this tournament if Idlewild, for example, had a $200,000 or $100,000 like money injected into it, because then you can get all new tee pads, and now the tee pads are solved, and then whatever money's left over after that, because I know tee pads are pretty expensive, but whatever money's left over that, you can throw some seeding down and get some grass in these fairways, and so that they're not dirt and they're actually grass, and they can hold water a lot better than what it was right now, where it was just a bunch of mud essentially.
Yeah, no, I definitely think a lot of these things will be solved with time, because logistics will happen, more money will get in the sport, and it'll kind of get figured out, a lot of it, because I think there's a lot of other solutions than changing rules or figuring out tee times and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of other stuff that can be done. But one reactionary rule that's in place that I guess you hadn't really seen too much until this weekend, which I fully get because it's a very weird rule, was towel behind people's lies in the fairway. Because obviously you've seen it on tees, but conditions were bad enough that I actually went in and found the rule for you to read it, so I can get your opinion on the actual rule itself. So it's 813.02D. It says an item such as a towel or pad may be placed under a supporting point as long as it's not greater than 1 centimeter in thickness when compressed. That's the rule.
And that's at any point, anywhere.
Yeah, that's just talking about your lie in general. So when you're like taking a stance and throwing.
I mean,
13.
It made for a really it made for a really funny photo with Gannon, especially because they were like the size of a washcloth and they're both yellow. I think that added to the image there. But yeah, I mean, I hate that. I'm not a fan of that at all.
Here's a weird one, because like recently
it is a rule, so it is what it is, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Well, recently there was the thing of like being able to move like dead and unattached behind your lie, dead and unattached stuff behind your lie, right? And like where you could move it or where you couldn't.
Yeah.
Right? Because wasn't it like where a supporting point could be? Like there was something where they said like basically the joke that would end up being made was you would have to like lay down and do like a snow angel.
Oh, you're talking about the new rule.
Yeah, like the updated version.
The new rule, before it was like anything behind your lie, you could, as if it was dead and unattached, you can move it. But now it's like basically it's if you put your foot down and lie down with your hand as stretched out as possible, anything in that area you can move.
I guess, I guess the issue was what I was about to say wouldn't make sense, because the issue was the run up. People were able to clear stuff farther back. So like James Conrad for his run up would clear like 15 feet farther back, whereas someone else might clear 6 feet farther back, and it's saying basically just where your supporting points were. But never mind, because I was going to make a point. I was just going to bring up the question of like, why can you put a towel behind your back supporting point? When it's not actually at the lie. Because, like, running up to a lie, having a towel down in a fairway looks silly, but, like, it being behind the lie, like, at least kind of makes sense in my head. But when you're able to put one under both feet.
It does,
like,
but then
be
it's like,
a way.
it's also... It also just seems like you're like adding, I don't know, it just seems like you're adding something. And even the one on the tee pad I don't like, because like that simply is just showing that tee pad's bad.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Right? Like when the tee pad's good, you don't need to do that. So I think
the only time I like it is like when you're taking a knee and you put something down under your knee. To like, that one makes sense to me.
Still doesn't make
Like
sense to me,
as
but
a cushion.
Yeah, like
Is that what
if you're having to go to a knee to putt, and like they make like, I think they're really called kneesies, but they make like
it's like-
pads
I mean,
where you like put it down
have
so
the
you're
w-
not getting thorns in your knee or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel
That
like I
makes
have
sense.
well, we also shouldn't be playing in thorns, first off, but I feel
Well,
like
don't
my
throw over there.
knees, I feel like my knees might be the worst out of everyone as far as like pain when it comes to like,
That's just a blanket statement. Yeah.
my knees are pretty bad, and I don't ever put anything underneath my knees when I'm, kneeling or doing anything like that on the course.
Maybe you
So,
should.
Yeah. Or like how
No,
often
I don't think
do you get down on a knee?
that's what I'm
Not
saying.
very often.
Not like once every 2 rounds, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And you're only down there for a second. I don't know. I just think to me, whatever you want to do, it's within the rules. It's fine. I just think like the looks of it, I don't like the look of it. It looks weird.
There's just got to be.
That's all
There's
I'm
got
gonna
to be a
say.
way to.
It just looks
I'm just
weird.
thinking like this one seems like a rule that could be easily abused somehow. I don't know how. I'm just like I'm thinking through like the right scenario. I feel like there'd be a reason for someone to just always have a towel and always put a towel down. Maybe it's just like because then your footing's the exact same every time. Like dry condition, wet condition, always have a towel and you always put it down behind your lie. Like there's got to be some way that you can like use that and like have some type of advantage, even if it's just a mental confidence thing. I don't know. It was a weird one.
I don't know.
Okay, now I do need
It's
you
strange.
to re-explain this issue with me because this was from a text and you tried drawing it out in a graphic and I don't know if we're on the same page or not yet. So I need you to re-explain it.
Okay.
The relief from OB, where basically
wait,
the
you
rule
can't
you can like pull it farther back.
You can't see me. Dang it. Okay.
I can't see you.
Well, I'll still draw it for the viewers.
This is perfect because I'm basically an audio listener right now. So if I'm able to get it, then
Yeah.
all of our audio listeners can.
There you go.
Okay, so I still have the frisbee that I did the last drawing on. So I'm going to use that
Nice,
same
we're adding
frisbee.
to it. Great.
So
You
essentially,
need to bring that to Charleston. Put it in the youth section or something.
you want me to bring this?
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, this is the basket. Okay, so I have a line here. Can you guys still hear me? Because it says your internet's weak, but
Yeah,
think we're
we can hear
fine.
you. We can
Is
hear
that-
you.
Okay. So the basket is up here. Okay. Then we're going to have a lake.
He's drawing on half a disc.
A lake. Well, I don't have that much room because I already drew this. So now you have a lake.
Describe into Hunter.
Oh, okay. You have a lake short of the basket. Okay.
Okay.
Your throw, okay, from back here, whatever, your throw went into the lake.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. So your
Tracking with you
throw
so
went in. Your throw went in where I'm making an X on the edge of the lake.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So the new rule allows you to do a semicircle, essentially, because of the way the lake is structured. You now can do a meter semicircle around where your disc entered. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I thought the rule was when you can take your lie anywhere in that semicircle. Okay. I thought that we all know that's the rule. I thought though, if you want to take it back, okay, like I'm just going to keep going back and back and back further because I want to get a better angle or whatever at the basket. I thought that always was where your disc crossed the water. So in my mind, I always thought like if you want to take it back 40 yards, you would have to take it back on the line, obviously with the basket, and where your disc went back out. But I don't know who it was, but I saw someone on coverage basically make, instead of the meter straight back like the rule used to be, they took the meter, like, let's say 45 degrees back and to the right.
Yeah.
And then from where they took it back, they then took it back in line with the basket. And then like if you take it a meter to the right of where it went out, you can then take that and align to the basket. And then a meter to the left, you take that. And so what ends up happening is, as you can see, you end up having like hundreds and hundreds of scenarios of where you essentially can take your disc, because they're all in line with the basket, but with different angles. So that now this person literally can take the disc in any of these spots. And I don't know. That baffles me.
But you would basically,
does that not baffle you?
I think I understand what you're saying. So basically, though, is this right? So if we're just gonna have a perfectly straight hole, okay, and the lake's perfectly in the middle of this perfectly straight hole.
I'm taking a picture and I'm literally sending it to you because everyone that's watching.
It looks like a UFO.
I just want to ask you this question so that, like, I understand.
I just sent that to Connor. He's gonna be so confused.
That's funny. But essentially, you would have a 2 meter wide range of options, correct?
No, infinite.
How? Because like you can take a meter left,
you can go
or
anywhere,
a meter right, and then just straight
then you go back. No, because you can take a meter 45 degrees.
Yeah, but then you
that's
go
a
straight
different
back.
angle.
You can't get farther than a meter right.
In line with the basket. In line with the basket, though, Hunter.
But once you take your relief to the meter,
look at the image I sent you. Look at the image I sent you.
Okay.
Look at the image I sent you, and all things will be understood. Because when you go in line with the basket, it literally creates, as the farther back you take it, the bigger this triangle becomes. Because you're taking each scenario, each spot in that circle, when you take it back, it's creating a new line with the basket. So like if you go a meter to the left and take it back, that's going to be different than if you take it from like a meter to the left, or sorry, a foot to the left is going to be different than a foot to than a meter to 45 degrees. Does that make sense?
I think
because
you're right.
Based off of taking it back in line with the basket, it's going to change the angle. So as you just keep going back, you end up having like these infinite. It's not obviously infinite, but the further you take it back, you end up having like so many like
but
you just have a
realistically,
huge.
to get it that wide, you'd have to go very far back. So like, at what are they really gaining an advantage
but
at
if
that
you're
point?
Yes, because some situations they can take it back, and all of a sudden this tree or obstacle, because like that was the whole thing that I was watching, is if they could only because here's the other thing too, Hunter. The other thing is this is where it gets tricky. Okay, now stay with me here.
Okay.
Stay with me here. Okay, you go now, instead of the OB being in front of the basket, the OB now is like on the fairway left side. Okay, same scenario. The basket's right in front of you, but now you go OB left.
Okay.
In this scenario, you can't take it further back if you go with what I was saying of where it goes out. Because if you take it further back from where it goes out, you're still OB. But now in this scenario, you can take a meter in all these different angles, and then you can literally take a meter back now because you're in the field of play. And so now essentially, if you had like a tree right in front of you, or like a wall of trees right in front of you, let's say 5 feet in front of where you went out of bounds, you now can take a meter back 50 feet in line with the basket, and now you can throw a shot around those trees.
But how is that any different from the rule before in the scenario you just described? Like if it's perfectly perpendicular and you go OB left,
I gotta do
the angle doesn't.
I gotta do I gotta do another picture.
I don't think I need a picture for that one.
No, you do, because you're not understanding what I'm saying.
There's OB left, basket's dead straight ahead of me. I go into the OB left.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the exact same. The farthest
Nope.
point from the OB.
No.
How?
Okay, look. I'm taking a photo. I'm saying it to you.
Okay, I'll try. I'll describe the
let me-
photo once it comes in to see what's different
Let
about
me
it than
know.
what I'm saying in my
No,
head.
everyone has literally understood what I'm saying. The OB is on a vertical line, not horizontal anymore. So now the X on the
Yeah,
line.
no,
Hunter,
I'm asking how is that different because of the semicircle? What does the
Hear me out.
semicircle change
Hear
from
me
that
out.
before?
because if you can't take it, what I'm trying to say is I always viewed the rule was you take it back if you want to take it back. If you want to take a disc back, like if you don't want to go from a meter in and you want to take a disc back, you have to do that on the point of where it crossed OB. So in this scenario where the X is OB, if you take the disc back on line with the basket, you're still OB. You can never find a lie in play.
So you never
So
knew
the
you could
rule-
take the relief first.
I never knew that. To me doesn't make sense that you can take a relief in. Because look, see the second X? The second X is trees.
So it's the rule. Yeah, I get it. I understand it. You
Yes.
just didn't understand you could take a
Yeah,
meter in first. We were saying the same thing.
Correct.
In the second
And
scenario,
what I'm
the
saying is
semicircle
I
in
don't
doesn't
understand how that's a rule. What I'm saying is I don't understand why that's a rule.
Yeah.
Why are
so
they
the
allowing
rule,
people? Why are they allowing that to where someone
Yeah.
can take a meter in, or and like I said, now that there's a semicircle, they literally have all these options up to where now they in that scenario that I just sent of where you have like an obstacle in front of you and you went OB right in front of that obstacle. If you weren't able to take a meter in and then take your relief back as far as you want, it's not even relief. What am I talking about? It's not relief. If you weren't able to take your meter in and then just go back as far as you want in line with the basket, you would not be able to throw around those trees.
Yeah.
But
so,
in this scenario, you can. That's my whole point.
So it's actually
that make
it's from
sense,
this
though?
rule. Yeah, so it's from this rule. It's 803.OTD. It says a player may elect at any time to take optional relief by declaring their intention to the group. The lie may then be relocated by marking a new lie which is farther from the target and is on the line of play. One penalty throw is added to the player's score. But no penalty throw is added if optional relief is being taken following a penalty taken for a disc out of the bounds or above 2 meters. So basically, it's the same disc golf rule of like the same throw can't be penalized twice. So it's essentially you're using a different rule, the optional relief that you can use at any point. So if I'm in the
just
middle
saying
of the
it shouldn't-
fairway, then I can take it 200 feet back to the tee. I'm just getting a penalty stroke for that. But if that stroke's already
I
been
also
penalized,
don't like.
I don't get
I
another
also
penalty
don't like
stroke.
that rule. I
So
also
then that's
don't
the rule.
like that
You just
rule.
don't like this rule, period, then. 803.02D. Because that's the rule.
I don't like the
It's not
rule
in the
either
OB
way.
rule. So you just don't like optional relief in general.
You take unplayable.
Well, unplayable lie, you go back to where you threw.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is optional relief. So instead of unplayable lie, you can take your relief
Why do we
back
need
as
a-
far as you need.
But why? Why is that a rule?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying it's not technically like an OB rule. It's just
Yeah, I'm not.
You can throw
I'm
it
not
all together.
arguing that it. Yeah, I'm not arguing that it's a rule and players are abiding by
Yeah,
the rule.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
arguing why is that a rule? I think
Yeah,
I think
that's what
if
I'm
you
saying
throw a
is
disc
this
in a
rule, you just want this one thrown out the window, basically.
yeah, because I don't think that comes into play. I've never seen anyone throw a disc and say I'm going to take optional relief backwards. I've never seen that before. Most of the time, everyone is going to say like I can throw some sort of shot forward, so why would I lose a stroke and then go further back?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like, and so that it's whatever, but I don't like that you can use that rule, like you just said, when you go OB and then really give yourself, I don't know. I just don't know why you're
There's
why
definitely
you're
moments where it's
helping
an
someone
advantage.
that someone throws a bad shot. So
The first time I ever
that's my
saw it
point.
used, I was the TD for an event, and it blew my mind. It was the Balfour Bedford, and we had this par 5 island hole, and the OB was defined by a fence line. And I was watching the MPO lead card come down, and Paul went for the eagle. He went for the island in 2, threw it OB, walked up to the fence line, took his meter off, and then backed up another like 10 feet. And I was watching as a TD up on the side of the hill, and I'm like, what is he doing? And so I had another guy who had TD'd a bunch of events, and I asked him, because he was saying next to me, because I was like, Paul's breaking the rules right in front of my face. Like, what the heck is this guy doing? And the TD was like, oh, he's just taking optional relief so he doesn't have to worry about the fence in his swing. I was like, but what? Like, his relief's a meter. Like, it's just a fence. It's not barbed wire or anything. You can't take 10 feet back. He's like, no, he's taking optional relief. I was like, so he gets a stroke. He's like, no, he went OB. And like, that was the first time it was ever explained to me. And so I asked Paul about it after.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it's not something you ever really do frequently. He's like, but if I would have taken only a meter, my follow through would have been right at the fence. So by going 10 feet farther back, then I could throw freely without thinking about the fence. The first time I saw it, I was like, that's illegal, because it does seem a very weird rule. Like, you threw it, even in that scenario, like, just don't throw over the fence. Then you don't have to worry about the fence in your swing. Like, there's no real scenario where it's like oh, okay, there it is. That's the one that makes sense. So I think I can get behind this being taken out.
It's not like a safety thing. It's just a rule that basically makes disc golf easier.
Yeah. Like, there's no real reason for it to exist other than it's just like, making your life easier. Being able to be like, oh,
yeah,
you know, if I go back 20 feet, then I have a hyzer versus having to throw this straight shot.
And you know me, because the other rule makes sense of where if you go out of bounds, because it really just makes sense for like the water scenario where it's short of the basket, right?
Yeah.
Where if you take a meter back, like, it might not still be safe to kind of throw in. So it's like, I kind of want to keep going back further. Like, that makes sense in certain scenarios. And I'm fine with that. Taking it back on where you went out of bounds as far back as you want, that's fine to me in that one line. But yeah, I'm always going to be for making disc golf more challenging and more difficult. And this just seems like a rule that the only thing it's good for is making disc golf easier. So I'm all about.
Yeah, you know what? I came into
X-nay.
this one ready to debate you, and you've convinced me. You've swayed me. I don't understand why this rule exists, and hopefully someone in the comments can explain to us maybe the origin of the rule or some type of scenario we're not thinking about as to why it still needs to exist. But as of right now, I agree. Let's get rid of that thing. This next take, basically, for those listening at home, what the structure of the show right now is Brodie texted me a list of things as they happened throughout Idlewild and was like, add this to the list of debate night. Add this to the list. So if it seems like I'm reading off of a list and being like, all right, next topic, it's because I am. That's exactly what I'm doing. But the next one, I'm fascinated to hear why this is even on my list. You said...
Oh, boy. Hopefully I remember.
You said you wanted me to bring up asking players how they shot versus just looking at it on UDisc.
Oh.
I gotta hear this one out.
Okay, so I actually had a couple conversations. This happens at every single tournament. And I don't know if other people, like, again, this is a very pro spectator fan type of situation. This is not something that, and this is, again, like one of those weird, like, disc golf things of where I think sometimes when we discuss things on here, people put themselves in that shoe of like, oh, when I finish like with a turn or when I finish with a tournament and someone asks me how I did, like, that's not weird at all. Like, this is a different scenario than you playing a local tournament or a local B tier or A tier, whatever it is. This is a different scenario when it's like the pro tour and spectators type of thing. Uh-huh. And there's like autographs, signings, all this type of stuff. And there's an actual scoreboard that you can look up to see how someone does. So, and again, this might just be me coming from my golf background, but like, it's a known, and I think it's a known thing in most sports of where, like, if you see someone perform badly or have a bad game or something happens to where they didn't perform well. If you like that person and you're a fan of that person or you respect that, whatever it is, you generally like just don't bring it up.
Yeah.
Right? You don't mess around with it at all. I don't know if I've told my Jordan Spieth story of where I walked 18 holes with him and I was super stoked to talk to him after the round, and he acknowledged me at one point during the round, so that made me be like, oh wow, he knows of me, so maybe we can have a conversation. Like, I got my head spinning of like, this would be sweet. But then he double bogeyed hole 18, and that basically kaputted his round. and put me in a situation where I was like, I'm not going to say anything to him.
No,
what the
not
heck?
anything
Because I know he's pissed off. Because like initially I was going to like come up to him and say, hey man, it was awesome watching you. Great playing today. Because he was actually playing really well. And then that happened. So my point being, and this is what I told the couple people that, and I think it's just an open conversation. It's not that big of a deal. If anything, I'm actually just trying to save people the awkwardness because I'm going to be truthful. If you ask me how I did and I played terrible, I'm going to say I played terrible. And then it's a really like Silas, let's have this conversation, okay? I just triple bogeyed hole 17. I was in like 23rd place and I triple bogeyed hole 17 coming in and now I didn't cash. And now I'm walking and you go with the line.
Say the line. Ask me how he played.
Oh, how'd you play?
Terrible.
Nice.
See, that was perfect. Like, Silas, what do you say to that? Like, how do you?
I've always seen it used as like a way to just like start a conversation. Because like I've asked players.
But you know how. You know how I played though.
But I want to hear the story.
You can look.
So like if I walk up to you, I guess it's slightly different.
To
like
someone that played terrible.
Yeah, if I walk up to you and I'm like, hey man, how'd it go out there today? And you're like, oh, it was awful. I shot 4 over. I was like, oh, dude.
No, wait, hold on.
What happened?
Yeah.
Hold on, Hunter.
Yeah.
Hunter.
Yeah.
If you know someone was like trying to qualify for USDGC and they double bogeyed the final hole to knock them out of qualifying, you would literally, the first thing you would say is, hey man, how'd it go out there? This is not someone that you're friends with, by the way. This is you saying this to Isaac Robinson.
No,
hey man, how'd it go out there?
Only way I'm asking that question to Isaac Robinson in that scenario is if I legitimately haven't seen, I'm walking by him and I see him like headed to his car. I'm like, oh dude, how'd you shoot today? And I have no idea what happened. I'm just asking because it's a lot quicker.
See, you're part of the problem.
If I'm walking, what do you want me to do?
Look it up on UDisc.
He could have shot course record, and this is the moment we're gonna have the greatest like interaction. And I'm like, and he's like, dude, shredded it out there. And I'm like, oh, sick. Tell me about it. Or he's just gonna be like, dude, didn't go my way. And I'm like, oh, my bad. Sorry, dude. That sucks. And then we just walk on.
And then you just walk away from that.
I saw you had an awesome round.
You know what? This somewhat happened. This somewhat happened to me.
All I'm trying to say is I'm trying to save the awkwardness because again, it's not awkward for me. I could care less. If more and more people want to come up to me and ask me, and again, if you're trolling, that's a perfect troll, right? Like if you know I played terrible and you don't like me, that is a perfect troll to be like, hey man, how'd it go out there? Like I saw you were in like 20th place. Like how'd you finish? That's an awesome troll. But if you're like a legitimate, like you want it, like you're saying, you want to have like a conversation, stuff like that. My other point is like, it's just, you have a UDisc.
Well, what do you suggest? What do you suggest? So I'm just a random fan. Okay, I didn't get to watch your round. I'm showing up to watch lead card first day.
I'm not talking anything about the round.
And you're walking by. What am I saying? I'm just like,
hey man, hey man, nice. Hey man, nice to see you out here. Hey man, can I get a picture? Hey man, can I get an autograph?
But like it's just a very natural thing to be like, I know Brodie teed off this morning. I wonder how he did. And just I see you.
Hey man,
how'd it go out there?
I just would never.
That's a natural conversation starter. I feel like.
No, I've never done that at a PGA Tour event. I've never
it's slightly
seen
different,
a pro
though, because like
walk. How?
But when are you? You're in the parking lot. So you pull up to a PGA Tour event. You park and Rory's parked next to you. That is completely different scenario than I'm at a PGA Tour event and I'm behind the ropes waiting to get an autograph from this guy.
What? Our parking is now separate now. You can't park where the pros are parking.
No, but like you at no point.
This is you walking off 18. Yes.
And you're walking to your car.
What are you talking about?
I'm not watching you play. I'm by hole 1.
There are
perfect
Hunter.
example.
Hunter, there are events on the PGA Tour where when you finish hole 18, you have to walk like 3 minutes to get to the clubhouse. And along those
But
3
those-
minutes, you're walking past people that weren't watching you play.
Past
that
people
just
are
like
with
randomly.
people. That's a big difference. Is it a roped off section?
You're walking through. It's even worse because they're walking on like a cart path. And there's
But that's
people on both sides.
Sure, but are people on the cart path walking with them?
No.
That's the big
and there's
difference.
no people. And this scenario is the same thing. There's a rope in between. It's the same exact
So
situation.
Idlewild, you
haven't been
left
to-
18 and you got to your car and you don't have
There's
to
a
walk
rope.
through fans
You're-
at any point.
There is a rope. There is a rope from hole 18 all the way to the practice area, and the practice area is all roped off onto your cars.
All right,
If you
then I
did
agree
not
with
want
you.
to interact, if you didn't want to interact with fans at all, you literally could just put your head down and walk, and they would have to. They're on the other side of you, and they're
Then,
not.
yeah, I
like,
fully agree
if
with you.
didn't want- So like I'm talking about like you're walking. I mean, in this scenario, my scenario was like I've had it happen where I'm like walking off hole 18 and people are asking, but then I've also had it too where like I'm practice putting after a round and like someone like, and this is the whole thing. It's not like you're walking past me, right? Like it'd be one thing if you're walking past me and you're just like, oh, hey man, how'd it go? Like that's different than like, it's an awkward situation when I'm practice putting and like you just like, hey man, how'd it go today? And I know like you were standing there. I'm not going anywhere. You could literally just be like, oh, he triple bogeyed hole 17. Yikes. Probably not going to bring it up. It's not that big of a deal. I don't really care. My whole point with this was literally just saying the awkwardness that it is when you ask someone how they did. And again, I think it's going to get like my interactions like terrible, didn't play well. It is what it is, right? And then we move on, whatever. But think about like,
Do you view it weird if like there's another pro like you and well,
I
Zach
think when
Melton.
pros do it, I think the majority of the time they know how you played. I think there is trolling going
But like,
on there.
possibly? But like, do you view it different if like round one you teed at 10, Zach Melton teed at 1 or is about to tee at 1, you're walking past the putting green and he's practice putting. He obviously has not been looking at scores. And he's just like, oh, Brodie, how'd it go out there for you today?
I think it's also different when you have a relationship with someone.
Sure, but like that's a different
because-
vibe, right? Like that feels fine.
Yes.
Because that's like,
Yes, because you have I have a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
I have a relationship with that
I think
person.
up to
I
this
would
point,
never
though,
ask-
that's the disc golf vibe because like everyone's been together. It's just now getting separated.
correct.
Because I would never
Correct, that's
ever
what I'm
ask
saying.
that to. I would never ask that to any PGA golfer if I'm standing on the course. But previously there wasn't separation, so like you were like
Correct.
if I'm walking to my car, there is a solid chance that I just look over and it's just a pro, and I'm like, oh, that's Adam Hammonds. What the heck? Hey, Adam, how'd it go?
Here's a-
Like,
here-
it's just a natural thing. Like it feels much more natural than I'm waiting for someone's autograph and I'm waiting for it like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people roasting me and being like, this is a stupid take. Who cares? And yes, it is stupid. That's my whole point is it's like, it's a dumb thing because you can literally look up the score and not have to have a weird interaction. My whole point too is imagine some of these people that we know are hotheads, that we know have a little bit of a loose cannon and like, you know, let's say the money goes up a little bit and now things are a little bit crazier. Like what kind of reaction you get? I'm just trying to help the people. The other thing too, here's another good line. If you really want to troll someone too, here's another great line is when they say terrible or they ask you like, hey, what'd you shoot out there? Like, how'd it go? And you're like, yeah, it didn't really play that well. And they're like, what would you shoot? And you're like 1 over. And they're like, oh, well, that's better than me. That's a great troll. Great troll. Great troll. Because that's
funny.
another line that I've never heard in any other sport of
No,
where
better
you're
than I
just
do.
like, Steph, how'd it go out there? Not good, man. Only scored 5 points. That's better than I would have done. Like that's probably exactly what Steph Curry wants to hear.
He's like, yeah,
that a
not
fan
dip. I'm
in the
NBA.
stands. Yeah. And again, I think it's to your point of where the separation isn't there yet, like 100%. It's still really close. So there are still people that like play and don't play and all this. But like that is such a good troll line of like, oh man, chin up, dude. That's actually really good. Like I've never shot under par here, so that's like really good. And
Yeah.
it's like
That's funny.
you're like, yeah, but like Isaac Robinson just shot 13 under, so he beat me by 4. He beat me by 14 today. The perspective of like what's good is like completely different of where, you know, the bogey bros going out and shooting 3 under at Idlewild, they're going to freak out, and most pros are going to be upset. So it's just a perspective thing.
Is that
but
a prediction? You think we're only able to get to 3?
If you guys play doubles?
Yeah, we'd play doubles.
Three's not a terrible number, actually. You guys are going to bogey a lot of holes as a doubles team.
I played Idlewild singles once, and I did start. I was 3 through 3 before a storm delay. Don't look at the scorecard after that, but just saying.
Well, hole 3's different now.
Oh yeah, I know. I could still get it. I think.
Birdie on hole 2 is really good.
I was very proud of myself.
I didn't birdie that hole once. Yeah, I didn't birdie that hole once.
I came back and took like a
hole 2,
6 or 7 on the next hole and just erased it all, but that's fine.
Yeah, the woods holes, like that stretch of like the stretch of like 10 through 15, that's where I think you guys shoot like probably 3 over par or something.
All right. So 3 under is a good mark, is what you're thinking.
I would be impressed if you guys as a double shot better than 3 under.
All right.
But you guys are also way better. You guys are way better than what I'm thinking of right now, actually. Because I think like I think maybe you actually could shoot better than that. Maybe like 5. 5's probably a better number.
5's a solid number. Okay.
I think 5's the number I would give you guys, because like Trevor's actually putting good now. So, and then I saw on your Instagram story that you were just like lethal today, like inside of 60 feet. So
most of today, most of today. Let's put it this way: we did a monthly match.
Yeah.
I won't spoil the monthly match, but I think I can say this: I might have had the greatest collapse of all time in the monthly match, and it was enough to at least allow Trevor back in it, and that's as much as I'll spoil. When he was so far out of it, I had one of the greatest collapses in sports history. I mean, 15-footers weren't even going.
I would actually, now that I think about it, I'd actually put money that you guys don't shoot better than 5, because now that I know, like, we would be filming it, I would be there, and we get to hole 16, 17, 18. Like,
that's a tough
feel
stretch.
like you're probably having. I feel like you're probably having to be like 8 under going into 16 to shoot 5.
Okay. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens.
So I feel pretty good about that.
The video that comes out the same day debate night comes out, so tomorrow, is our WR Jackson doubles battle. I feel like we played pretty solid there. So I'll be curious what you think of the score once that comes out. What you think of this? What we think of the score once you see us on that track, but. Kind of on the same track what we were talking about. You told me to mention autographs, and that's all you said. So,
go
for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So I was just gonna say real quick, like something that's an interesting situation that's going on now is the way they have autograph, and this is also something that I'm curious if like the people that have gone to events. And like the way that the autographs are currently set up, because the way that the autographs are currently set up is like a meet and greet. So it's like the players are like sitting behind a table, and you
I've
form
seen some
a
pictures
line.
of that.
And it almost looked like too like a situation where there's like 2 lines forming, right? So like if Calvin and Ricky are behind the table and you get in Ricky's line, after Ricky's line, I don't think you can just go straight over to Calvin. I think you have to go in the back of Calvin's line. I think. Because there's 2 lines created. Because there's some people that just want Ricky's autograph, and there's some people that just want Calvin's autograph.
Yeah.
And so like a line forms. I don't know exactly how that works. The way I handled it was a little bit different because one, when you have people asking for photos too, I'm not one to be like, let me, I don't know how other pros were doing it, but like me just sitting there and then like doing a selfie with me like sitting in the background, I'm not a big fan of that. So like I just got up and like went down the line myself. And I think that's also way faster. I have a Sharpie in my hand and I'm just signing, here you go, have a good one, thanks for coming, here you go, boom. And I can also interact. People can stick around and talk. It's not like they sign and they feel like, okay, I got to get out of the way for the next person.
Yeah.
So my thought is, for me, like I would much rather, instead of having like a meet and greet setup, I would have almost like just like an area of a line that people can kind of line up. And as I'm walking, I can sign and go to the next person.
That's how
And there's not
Champions
like
Cup was, correct?
The line's almost horizontal. I don't remember how Champions Cup was
Gotcha.
set up. That was so
Well,
long
the
ago.
only
But
feedback I heard is someone DM'd me, or not DM'd, it might have been on Discord. Someone notified us somehow because they were, I guess, somewhat upset. Whatever day they could come to Idlewild, I guess Ricky didn't play super good, and they claimed after 18 he just up and left, and they didn't get to get an autograph because of how separated stuff is. I saw pictures on the Pro
That's
Tour
fine.
where he was sitting down, had a long line. And Ricky's someone who always makes time for his fans. But like you had said, with it being separated now, like if you played in your
if he
opinion a
doesn't want
trash
to sign,
round,
he
like,
doesn't have to.
yeah, you can just peace out. But it is a weird like perception. I think it's just as the sport grows, it's something that'll happen. Because like if you go to, back in the day, I got LeBron James' autograph once, and it was like the coolest moment of my life. Now I don't like LeBron anymore. No real reason. I just don't like dominant players. I'm always the underdog person. Mine is Duke. Anyways, I met LeBron, and I was like freaking out. But the whole night, how we got to meet him was we just went down to like the tunnel area, and like the players just came through. But every single person told me like, hey, not all players sign autographs. So like you're gonna get to see LeBron walk by, but depending on how the game goes, like he might not sign. And like it was just a normal thing. Like he signed. He was very nice. Actually took time to like talk to us and stuff. It was awesome. Signed my jersey. Super cool moment. But had he just walked by, I wouldn't have been upset because like Delonte West, he just walked right by. He didn't give two fricks about me. That was fine because they lost. They lost to the Wizards that night. So yeah I would have put my head down and walked out too. But in disc golf, that hasn't been a thing because it's been so accessible. It's like, as soon as basically basketball terms, it'd be like, the final layup just went in. I'm going to walk on the court real quick before he gets to the locker room and stop him and make sure I get my autograph. Whereas now it's a lot more organized. So I think over time it'll just become a more normal thing of like, well, sorry, he played bad. They don't always stop and sign. Like, that's okay. You don't have to.
So here's the other issue as well. After the first round, I think I was on third card, right?
Uh-huh.
So you had chase card and lead card behind us. We had a pretty big group of people watching us, and there was also a pretty big group of people on hole 18 already.
Yeah.
So by the time we got over to like the signing area and all that stuff, a pretty large line had formed. I got through like half the line maybe when chase card was finishing up. So then you end up getting all the people that were watching chase card. They now come over and get in line.
Yeah.
And so now you're still signing all these people that are in a line, and then final card comes in and all that. And so you end up situation where it's like, do you want, are we making it to where players now not feel obligated, but it's like a weird situation where there's a line formed.
Yeah.
And like you've been signing for 15, 20 minutes. And it's like, do you just up and leave? Now, luckily the way I was doing it, and that was really the reason why I was doing it that way, was like, it got those people in and out quicker. So it's not like they're standing in a line for 20 minutes to try to get my autograph. Because sometimes there is this like, someone comes, sits down, sign, hand it, they talk to whatever. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people just want an autograph, want a picture, maybe want to say a couple things to you, and then they've got other stuff to do. They want to watch more disc golf. They want to get another autograph, whatever. So I was trying to get through the line quick, but like if you were sitting there and taking your time, like you can just literally get more and more people flooded in. And like this is like when disc golf again is like still growing. So like how does that work?
Yeah, when there's thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah, of where it's just like everyone at the tournament just thinks that they get an autograph. Like it gets crazy. And again, these are all like really weird things. I don't even know if people listening care about this, honestly. But these were just all things that I saw and just kind of growing pains, some things that, are interesting and again, like the players thing, like I'm always going to side with the players of if you didn't play well or something happened to you and you just don't feel like having to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you're not good at like putting on a smile and moving on, like you have every right to just leave and get out of there.
Absolutely.
And so like, I don't think if that happens, like, I don't think if you're a fan of that player, I don't think you should look bad or something. Like, I don't think you should look down on that person for making that decision.
No.
I'll side with the players on that because
I definitely think
it's like it's very difficult to and luckily we don't have like media obligations.
Yeah.
Like they really, like I thought pretty good on the first round, and I was playing with Isaac, and there's like we're just gonna interview Isaac.
Yeah.
Right. Where a lot of other sports, they have so much more media and so much more journalists and stuff like that, of where, pretty much if you're in the tournament, you're going to have someone after your round ask for a quick interview or whatever it may be. But for us, it's like, unless you played really, really well, you can just kind of bounce. But yeah, I just want to throw it out there because I know there are probably some people upset with some players with the signing, and to let people know ahead of time, like kind of what people are doing with you, saying like, hey, like he probably isn't going to sign this. Like he might just walk by. It's like setting people up to let people know that, there might be a situation where that person was sitting there signing autographs and taking photos for 20 minutes and they got to get going. Or like for me, like I was like, it wasn't like I need to get out of here because I want to go eat or whatever. It's like, I need to practice. Like every day, Fridays after each round, even Sunday after Sunday's round, I stuck around for another hour and a half practicing, because it's like the way disc golf is set up, it's not really easy to get a lot of good practice in before your round. So I use the time after my round to get my practice in. So those are all things just to kind of think about.
I definitely think what you had said earlier of the horizontal lines makes the most sense. Like you walk off 18 and basically you're just lining the rope, and if people are holding out discs and you want to stop and sign and talk to people, you do. If not, you just get going. And then it's not some awkward, because the meet and greet thing definitely could create some more awkward situations where it's like, at what point do you stop? Like there's some players who might just be more personable and sit down and like have a conversation with everyone, and they could legitimately be there 4 or 5 hours
but I think
if they
that's
wanted.
when you set up like a actual meet and greet.
No, yeah, there's a separate thing of like an actual meet and greet. Yeah, and players can set that up, sponsors,
like
stuff like that, whatever. Yeah.
Like what we're doing at Foundation Charleston, like that's a meet and greet. Like we're all gonna be there, and we're not going anywhere. So like if one person shows up or 1,000 people show up, we're gonna be there.
Exactly.
That's where this is different, because like someone might finish their round at 7:00, play really bad, and know that they're going to have a round early in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
And they might have, I don't know. So, all right, next, what we got?
Well, this is it.
What
This is
we got
actually
left?
perfect topic to wrap it up.
Oh,
and
wait,
the final thing.
No,
No,
we can't wrap it up. Nope, we can't wrap it up.
Well, I have one more topic.
I have 2 additional things.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me do these 2 additional things real quick.
Okay.
Because these should be fast.
Okay. Go for it. Knock it out.
This is like if I smoked weed, this would be like something that probably would pop up in my head.
Okay.
But I just saw this and I want to talk about this.
Okay.
How crazy is it? And I'm gonna bring it all as a good story here.
Okay. Great. Can't
Think
wait.
about how crazy it is when you listen to one person sing, right?
Yeah.
If you listen to one person sing, we're gonna throw out Miley Cyrus, because I've been really liking her like renditions of some of these songs.
Yeah.
That she's been doing.
Silas is laughing.
When
for
I
some
hear
reason.
Dude, what?
Silas must not have heard. Keep going.
Hear me out. When I hear like Miley Cyrus sing, I'm like, holy cow, that person can sing really good. My guess is if I heard Silas sing, I would be like, holy crap, Silas can't sing. This sounds terrible.
Dang, man.
Have you ever heard like at a concert where the whole crowd starts singing?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that and thought it was bad? It
No,
always
it always
sounds
sounds
amazing.
Yeah.
It always sounds incredible.
It's like a choir.
And so I think But everyone in choir can sing though.
Not always.
The majority of people
Not
No,
always.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, a
The
lot
majority
of people in choir can't sing.
hold on. The majority of people in a choir can sing or practice singing or like have. You're going to tell me right now that there's a higher percentage of people that sing better in a crowd than in a choir?
No,
Come
probably
on.
in a choir. I mean, it depends
You
on the
can't
choir.
believe that.
Like a random middle school choir at like some random school, yeah, probably. Yeah. You probably have more talent in that crowd.
No, like
It doesn't. It's irrelevant. Keep
there
going.
might be.
I'm tracking with you.
Okay,
A group of people always sounds
My
good.
point is, even if you have 10,000 people and only let's say 100 of them actually can sing well, it's still going to sound good, even though 9,900 can't sing.
Yeah.
Individually, if you pick them out individually.
Sure.
So this is where I'm bringing it all into the world. I think this is a perfect analogy to the fact of if we work together as a group, community, whatever, we can achieve a lot better things than if everyone was just trying to go solo dolo.
Absolutely.
That was kind of my like analogy moment of like, holy cow, like as a group, we can do incredible things. And instead of like tearing each other down and saying, I'm better than you, you're better, you suck, yada, yada. If we work more together, incredible things can happen. I don't know. That was
Where'd that come
was
from?
just I've never
what
thought.
sparked that?
Thanks for the motivation. That was good.
It was one of my favorite Christian songs, which is what is that song?
Love that one.
I can't. I mean, we need about 5,000 more of you.
Gosh, hold on. I saw a video and I liked it, so I gotta. Oh, here it is.
I'm hearing nothing.
Can't hear it. Put it up to the mic.
You would call me
We lit-
deeper than my feet could
Oceans.
Oh,
Hillsongs.
under.
Oceans. I mean, if
Is
you
it
would
Oceans?
have given
It's
me
Oceans.
5
Yeah,
words, I would have known
Oceans.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Oceans. I was blanking on the name. Oceans, yeah. So I saw that and like, you know, they sang a couple, the artist sang a couple song lines and then the whole crowd started singing. And I was like, this is beautiful. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And so I thought that. All right,
It's a
next
good
next
analogy.
thing.
Really random, but great
completely
analogy.
Complete 360 here. What
Okay.
what were we arguing about last week?
Worlds.
Because I was getting a lot of flack in the comments saying that I was not understanding your point.
Worlds.
And I feel like I was understanding.
You
your
were
point. Oh, it was
understanding.
worlds.
It was just the world's argument.
You were understanding.
I was
each
understanding your
other's-
point. I was just saying my whole thing was I just don't understand why adding extra days makes it special.
I'm not.
But we don't
we're
have
not
to get
getting back
into
into
Here
that.
we go again.
We're not getting back into that.
I just want to make sure it's noted that I was understanding Hunter's point.
Boom.
I mean, just hearing you say,
I might be-
just hearing you say that makes
I
me
might
wanna
be
go
wrong.
again.
All right, next up.
No, we're not talking. We're not talking.
Where's Trevor on it? What's his? I'll ask him when I get there.
Yeah, ask him
wanna
when he
know
gets
his
here.
opinion. Yeah.
His opinion will just
Maybe
be
we'll do a
different
special
from whatever
grip
I say
locked.
every time.
Maybe we'll do a special grip lock.
Maybe
We definitely need to do a banter. We definitely need to do a banter when I'm there.
we're gonna
We haven't
record.
done
A, we're gonna
we haven't
record
done
a
full
banter
banter.
tomorrow morning, but we could definitely. We're gonna do a mailbag when you're here for sure. Heiser Club
No, we
mailbag.
need to do
but
a
we can do a
banter.
banter too.
We
We can knock 2
need to
banters
film a
out
banter.
this week.
It has. It's been a long time since we did a banter
Friday
with the full
Friday
crew.
morning, I think we got some free time.
Oh, I'm also bringing the Prada disc. So
Oh,
we're
heck
going
yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a full review of the Prada disc
Nice.
and see how everyone throws it. So that's
Perfect.
coming.
Great. That's awesome. All right.
What's your
the
last
final
topic?
thing you texted me, which I'm confused why we're bringing it back up again, but you must have a reason, is the shaking hands after hole 18.
Oh my gosh, the movement is happening, baby.
Oh, you started
The
it.
movement is happening.
Okay.
Oh, I've been trying to
did-
do this. I've been trying to do this for
I
months.
will say, I did
What the
notice
heck?
was it your final round? one of the rounds, it was definitely your final round.
That was
because that's when
definitely
Paul,
not filmed.
No, it was that was when Paul popped off. You were on Paul's card final round, right?
Oh, yes. So they
So
were
live,
yes.
so live coverage they had when Paul hit the putt on 18, and then immediately everyone took their hats off and started shaking hands on the green of 18.
I thought I was watching.
What'd you
golf.
think?
I did note it. I did note it. It looked professional.
Did it look cool?
It did look good.
Loved
It felt like a good summary of the round. It made sense.
Okay, so we've definitely made movement on this, and I haven't posted anything I haven't posted anything to the Facebook group with all the pros in it or anything like that, being like, hey guys, let's keep doing this. I'm just kind of doing it I'm grassrooting it. I'm
Okay.
Trying to word of mouth it one person at a time.
You're just playing with a bunch of different people, doing it with all of them.
Yes. And I've had really good conversations with a lot of people of where I'll basically, this is how I pose it is I go, when we get to hole 18, I'll go, hey, listen guys, if you want to do the whole handshake thing and all that stuff right now, fine. I just want to let you know I'm going to do it again when we actually finish on 18. And
Yeah, that's how you make it.
and I've got and phrasing it that way, I literally have gotten some people being like, yeah, I don't actually know why. Yeah, I don't know why we do it before. And some people are like, yeah, I've never even thought about. I've gotten a lot of people being like, yeah, it's kind of weird. When they actually think about it, because I think it's just so ingrained, and it's something you've done so much.
Yeah.
But to me, I do think it is such a classier thing to be able to do that actually when your round is over, no matter what happens on hole 18.
Yeah, because then you can just actually say it was good playing with you. You can actually say it because it's over.
The optics. Yeah, and you're shaking the caddies' hands as well, letting them know that it was nice meeting them, all that stuff. The optics of it, I think, looks great. But yeah, I did it. We all 3 days did it, and it is what it is. Slow movement, obviously, slow movement. And some people, I still sometimes get people being like, well, I still am going to do it before. And I'm like, that's fine. Just, I want you to know I'm doing this now for you. I'm shaking your hand after 18, so don't run away. And you can't run away. That's the whole beauty of it. We're all going to do our scores. So
you know
there's
what?
no running away.
You've started a movement now with Foundation. Tomorrow's Bogey Row battle is going to turn a new page. We're not going to shake hands till after we're done.
I love that. I don't even know why you guys haven't been doing that.
Well, because
What the heck
we're
is
playing
wrong
with disc
you?
golfers. So people come up to us as soon as we get to the tee of 18. Everyone's like, "Hey, dude, great
Say
shooting
the
video
same
with you
thing.
guys." That's what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Say
I'll
the
be
same
like,
thing. Be like,
we
hey,
can do it now. We're just gonna do it after 18 when we tap out, anyways, too.
We're gonna do it. Yeah, be like, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it literally in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
There you go.
But I can't take credit for it though, because I brought this up, and I want to say, I think it might have been Paul Oman. Paul Oman let me know that someone else actually started this movement years ago.
Oh.
So
you're just carrying on their
I can't
spirit.
remember his name. Yeah, I can't remember their name. So if anyone knows who I'm talking about, please let me know
Arnold
in the
Palmer.
comments. But no, it's a disc golf
I was
person.
joking. I was just picked a random old golfer.
But yeah, I don't want to take credit for actually starting the movement. I'm just continuing on this person's journey.
There you go. Well, great. I mean, it's going to be – I'm excited for the day that, that's all we see on coverage, and then we can just be like, hey, you know what? We had this conversation on debate night when the movement was picking up steam.
You know what else you'll love? You and Trevor will love?
Let's hear it.
And why this is also another thing of why you'll love it is it prohibits – I love Terry Miller – but it prohibits Terry Miller getting that microphone up in the person's face right when they tap out, because they know that they have to shake everyone's hand. It also prohibits the random other pros that are watching, sprinting on and hugging and all that stuff right after. Everyone knows.
It's like when I had the idea to regulate the pants.
With,
you fix the problem by fixing a different problem. Genius.
Exactly. You can't do that. You can't do that anymore, because you have to let that player shake every other player's hand and all the caddy's hand. And what that ends up doing is that player shakes their caddy at the end, and they get that nice moment of where it's caddy player.
I will say,
and
I will say,
and then the family is hanging in the on the wings, and
Yeah.
they come in, and so it's a nice moment. It's a
I
nice
will say,
moment.
I did like this at Idlewild. It was a pro that sprinted in, but it was his brother, Isaac's brother. I liked that they had that moment where as soon as Isaac tapped in,
That's cool.
Ezra sprinted in and hugged him, and they had a solid 30, 40 seconds. The moment before the interview built up a lot. You could see also they had a camera on him all 18 walking up, and you could see the moment slowly settle in. It was crazy to watch the emotions on his face as he slowly relaxed and realized he just won a Pro Tour event. And then he had the moment with his brother, and then it was all settled. It didn't feel rushed. 18 didn't feel rushed, but I think you're right. I think that if that picks up enough steam, that kind of solves a lot of other problems without actually having to solve any of them.
Yeah, because what you could do too is in that moment, what you can do is when Isaac's putting out, you could have a camera on Ezra.
Yeah.
Right, and you can kind of go back and back, or you can do picture in picture. And so when he makes that putt, you can see Ezra's reaction, and Ezra's just waiting for him to shake everyone's hands, and then you can have that moment of once that happens, boom.
Yeah.
And that just, again, gives it a little bit more time of where you can kind of build that up of watching Ezra celebrate kind of with himself and be super stoked. This was very similar to when Matthew Fitzpatrick just won the last major. His brother actually caddied for him when they played that same course for, I think it was U.S. amateurs or something like that. And so his brother wasn't on the bag this time, but his brother was there watching it, and they had a camera on it all through 18, and they were going back and forth to the brother, and it was the same situation where putt goes in, he wins, he shakes everyone's hands, he embraces the caddy, and then by the time he embraces his caddy, boom, his brother, boom, lovely moment. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yep, the pants, regulate the pants. It's all about, fixing another problem to fix the actual problem.
Yeah, genius. I love it. All right, well, there you go. That was debate night. Hopefully you enjoyed. A little bit different format than normal, but if you're in the Charleston, South Carolina area, be sure to check out all the stuff going down this weekend. You can find that on Foundation Charleston's Instagram page, and also we're posting about it on our main Instagram, Facebook, Twitter accounts, all of that. You can stay up to date there. But the big event, 5 p.m., Foundation Charleston grand opening here in Charleston, South Carolina. You can swing by, meet Brodie, meet Robbie C., Swanky Disc Golf, Danny Lindahl, the Bogey Bros, us, obviously. Silas will be there. Connor will be there. You're not going to want to miss it. And obviously, get your hands on one of those black-on-black Dark Horse Midnight Nukes. I almost said Zeus's. Midnight Nukes. You're not going to want to miss those. Brodie, you want to call something? You want to call anyone out? You haven't done that in a while.
I'll say. I'll try. I'll see if I have anything, but I will say, in the collector group, I don't know if I saw any of the black on black Raptors go for sale. I don't think anyone tried to flip those.
People just held on to them.
Yeah, so I don't think this is a situation. I think maybe some people were like, "Hey, if you're going, can you grip me one?"
I've seen some of that, yeah.
But I don't remember really seeing anyone try to flip these things. So
we did get a
I
DM
appreciate
where
that
someone,
obviously because
someone booked a round
What were you
trip
gonna say?
flight out here for the opening.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
flying in.
let's go.
So,
Calling out people. I don't know if I can really call anyone out right now because I've been playing like trash.
I think you stick
lately.
with your analogy, man. I think you stick with your analogy.
I was gonna say I thought this was gonna be my bounce back tournament, and I was gonna be suck it haters, you forgot about DDO. Here you go, Idlewild, yada yada. It was looking that way. I was feeling great, and then I just had two rounds. Well, the final round wasn't bad until 17, but yeah, it is what it is. I've got if there was a time and there was a tournament to make some noise at, it'd be this next one.
The European Open?
I'm putting a lot of time and work into trying to get everything honed in, and Kelsey will be out there. It'll be the first tournament this season outside of, I believe, Waco. She was there for a hot minute. But yeah, we'll see if she'll caddy for me too. That'll be an interesting situation.
There you go. There you go. Well, there you have it. Just listeners, end with the picture of Brodie, what Brodie described. If you know, 1,000 voices sound better than one. We can do a lot more together than separate. There you go. I think that's better than a call out. We'll end it with that, and we'll talk to you all same time. Well, no, not the same time. Same place, though. Next Tuesday night. See you then.